They do still pull the trigger on the Skywrath Mage, so nice bit of extra damage and lockdown to work with. And now ET, well, I mean, I guess technically you could take another core here, but then you're presumably last picking your position 5. Although it's not ultimate last pick, so maybe NoRunes don't care.
Yeah, and well, I feel like getting a carry right now would probably do them a good service because again, you're taking away from Stonebank's hero pool while also seeing your lane in its entirety. So as long as you find a hero that's gonna be fine for you, then I do think you can be happy. But that's also where versus Beastmaster CM, this looks like such a good PA game on paper, but you're still Phantom Assassin, and I feel like that hero is just simply too slow in the meta. It's been getting a few picks here and there, especially on the other side of this tournament in SEA, but I don't know. If they did go for the carry now, it would just get countered out by Stonebank is the main problem here. It's where you can't look at heroes like the Morphling or the Faceless Void just because there's that immediate counter pick coming in that next phase. So I don't know. They could just look for Surem's hero, and then Surem will just kind of have to deal with it. I don't think there are too many bad heroes for Surem. I honestly think perhaps the Jakiro would be a very kind of cool pick for them. Gives them a lot of setup as well, but no, they go for
Okay.
Abaddon instead. Again, an ancient hero, kind of resurrected. I only got to see one other Abaddon in the tournament, but the problem with Abaddon, at least for me, is I think Abaddon, oh, great hero. I love that hero. But there's still Omni Knight also in the pool. So does this mean that Abaddon's better than Omni Knight or Omni Knight? You know, it's where you see the pros do it and you're thinking, wait a second, why are they doing it? I guess this maybe hints at perhaps Mini's hero not being a strength core, because I think otherwise Omni probably is the better Abaddon in a lot of cases. But again, they're the pros. We'll have to see. And I think Surem does have a good bit more games on Abaddon, but
Yeah.
you know, c'est la vie.
There's also some nice stuff that maybe an Aphotic Shield can help get you out of in terms of being stuck in a tight spot. So then again, the Omni could have done something similar, but whatever. As you say, maybe it's just personal preference and experience at that point. But now for DogChamp, well, what are you looking at here? You've got a view of just about everything other than the carry, so they could look for RCY's choice at this point, but it is still worth noting, as they do go for the Invoker anyway, it is worth noting NoRunes could still switch this up. Unka could still end up in the safe lane in Mini's hands, and then they could just draft themselves a mid laner with their next selection. So I think with the Invoker, DogChamp have still set themselves up in a good spot, regardless of whether that switch happens, but it is something that they had to worry about.
Yeah, and of course, Invoker with the Beastmaster got something to play for a little bit. I do wonder how they're going to appraise that lane, because of course, versus Invoker, the Kunkka matchup, it's fine for both sides. It's kind of a struggle for Kunkka until he hits level 5, just because a lot of those range creeps are very difficult to contest, and depending on which type of Invoker, you could have some problems, because I think RCY in this type of game could honestly go for Quasix Sword or Quas Wex, just because you've got Beastmaster, you've got Clockwork, you've got two heroes around the 10-minute mark that could probably use the Sunstriker too, and you've got CM. I mean, I think RCY's got to go Quasix Sword. It actually just sounds so good on paper. But that's also where, if it is Quasix Sword, a little bit less control. You can't stop the Kunkka from killing you if he does actually go for the X combo. It's where, honestly, both sides still have many advantages, but both teams, ban-wise at least, say, nope, it's going to be a carry. You're going to pick a carry. I think they might pick a carry as well. And of course, again, we talk about the flexibility between Guts and Mini, and this Kunkka is a little bit of a question mark, but that's where I feel like probably just give it to Guts. If it's not Guts' hero, I think they could absolutely turn this draft around and perhaps look for like Alina, which would be really nice versus
Hmm.
Invoker, and then you've got that draw lane and something to play for.
Whoa.
And they switch it up, but the absolute other direction, safe lane, Clinks for Mini. Okay, sure.
Hmm. Did see, I think the one Clinks back in the group stage, right? And it was an interesting pick. I don't know if it was so good that it's super justifiable as a pick here, but it has been done before, and it'll do a lot of damage, right? Not the most durable of heroes in a lot of situations, but you do hit hard. But what's it going to be trying to outpace at this point? Okay. Relatively safe choice there in the Juggernaut.
Yeah, and then they loop back around. They get the Juggernaut versus the Primal Beast that we always talk about as probably being one of the best answers in the safe lane versus that hero. But yeah, no, this is gonna have a lot to live up to, and of course, very tanky, very good versus the creeps. It's another hero that's going to make Monster's life maybe a little bit more difficult, and Mini can stick his nose down and actually stay in the Beastmaster lane just a little bit longer. And again, Clinks is in a better spot than Clinks has ever been, ever, probably. So this is any time to pick it. It probably is now, but is it going to be enough? And you're also playing versus a Clockwork. So depending on how Bloody Nine plays and what he's actually able to do here, I think this is a phenomenal game for him. It's just whether he can put the numbers down. Because, of course, in lane, well, he's going to get stepped on a little bit. Stepped on instead of Stonebank, nonetheless. But this is a game that I think if Bloody Nine pitches a shutout, this is going to look like the easiest victory DogChamp's ever had. If they can't, then NoRunes, I mean, they've got the beast, right? Every single early game just gets shattered by this hero. And Heiko, not a stranger to it either. I feel like so many times because Surem has gotten that respect band of his Treant Protector, they keep on getting the beast. So he's got the good practice. He's got the CM lobbies to back it up. It's just a matter of whether or not they can execute.
Hmm? That is always going to be the benefit, right? Having a 4 or a 5 who's got that sort of specialty hero. Because honestly, here's the thing. I will say this. As good as Surem is on the Treant Protector, at a certain point you do start to wonder, is letting him play Tree less dangerous than letting the Primal Beast through? Because I feel like that's not a knock on Surem, that's just a statement of how strong Primal Beast is. You might be approaching that sort of equilibrium point where it tips the other way.
No, definitely. And of course, that's where the best of three format is rewarding for the players that get those respect bands. It's where you have to change things up, but just ever so slightly that you still don't make a mistake in the draft. Now, is it a mistake to let it have it? Maybe. Is it a mistake to let something even bigger through? Probably too, but it's the lesser of those evils that you always have to consider. Because at the end of the day, is Surem Treant Protector worse than Primal Beast in itself?
Yeah.
Well, you know what my opinion is on that, but we'll have to see because, that's where these players, they are kind of just built different sometimes.
And here is the uproar play out of Heiko, so he's going to try and just bully them off of this rune, although, I don't know, they're bringing over reinforcements, and Heiko, you lost half your health to try and go for this, so it's going to backfire a little bit, but there's that aphotic shield. That's going to absorb pretty much all of that damage, so he's still okay, but the uproar play has now passed. They're going to try and fight for this anyway, and Stonebank's the only one still here. Everyone kind of walked away thinking the fight was won, so Surem does get the rune, but now he might die for it. Shield, not going to last long. Right-clicks are in. B9 was trying to hold off in case that hit from RCY could have done the job, but Battery Assault waits for no man. So, first blood to B9, and DogChamp start things off relatively well.
Well, a very solid start. Of course, in this Primal Beast lane, we'll need to be very conscious of those spin cooldowns, especially level 1, where 42 seconds is 42 seconds, but that's also where knowing that he has the uproar, at least you can be pretty safe here. It's where, of course, as we always talk about with Primal Beast, every level, though, is just a new level of danger that you have to be very conscious of.
Same time, looking over to the NoRunes safe lane, this is a laning setup that has basically no inherent synergy whatsoever. Surem's going to shield himself and run at the DogChamp heroes and just hope that that creates the space for Mini to farm. And honestly, that could work quite nicely, but this duo is not really ever going to team up to do anything too spectacular. It's just going to be distraction and farm.
Yeah, it's always going to be just trying to play, avoiding the Boris, making sure you're not getting too much damage. And this does get a little bit more difficult once B9 actually has those boots, but until then, Mini's in a pretty good spot. Not to mention, until Monster has his Helm of Iron Will, Mini Searing Arrows do actually hurt. You can get zoned very easily. And that's why I do wonder as to why they decided to go for this specific situation. Just because I feel like the CM probably would have helped maybe a little bit more, at least at making Monster's life easier, but then, of course, they've got it versus the Primal Beast, which is its own solution, but it does mean that this Beastmaster's lane is just all about creep cutting, and that's why Surem is so tactfully always trying to meet B9 and pulling the waves over to the side, which is funny because this is the second time it's happened. It's the second time both camps have gotten blocked. This time it's a little bit better because Monster had that creep surplus, but it's funny how this lane is panning out.
Yeah, just a lot of sort of early movement here, and I don't know. I guess with Jug and CM in the same lane, then you basically guarantee that that Juggernaut is going to be able to just sort of farm up and be safe because you have two means of dealing with the Primal Beast instead of one, and on the other side, you just need Monster to hit that sort of one item, and then he's a little bit earlier on ready to go. So if he sort of slows down a little bit, the timing will still be good, and then if the Juggernaut is really pushed forward, you're going to be more happy. As Yaren was able to track Hane down there, just getting behind the tower, trying to snipe a courier, which he does do. The Stonebank is without his courier for a bit, but you do give up a kill to the Crystal Maiden.
Yeah, and because, of course, he went for the courier kill, he got one right-click off, and ate one tower shot, and then that was it. But he did kill Stonebank's boots, which is pretty important, because now Primal Beast actually has the move speed advantage over you, so for at least the next few minutes here, Stonebank will be unable to actually punish the Primal Beast. So kind of nice for Heiko. There is a stacked small camp here, though, that I can only imagine both sides are going to look to farm because, you know, somebody's got trample, somebody's got spin, and everybody casts their abilities, and the neutral creeps are the real losers. But Heiko, you walked into this.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of damage that he takes there, and well, again, this is why the CM's here. Stonebank could probably just spin if he's in trouble and keep his distance, but with Yarn in the lane instead of B9, he farms, and you actually get to be the one doing a little bit of bullying. So Stonebank's closing in on 20 last hits so far. Of course, the lanes for NoRunes aren't exactly being lost, right? 18 and 3 for Heiko. Your other two cores are well over the 20 mark, so in terms of the farming game, they're still looking quite nice.
Yeah, and now, well, I'm looking over at mid RCY. Underneath the tower. Guts is here, but he doesn't have a torrent. Gets mangled by Hannes, though. Oh, that's sick, but will it be enough? Just barely. Now B9. You gotta be a little careful, brother.
Yeah, he's not in a good spot. He's got 9 wand charges, so he can do a little bit of dancing. And actually, Hane's out of mana, so that's pretty much the end of that play. But they got the mid laner. That's what they wanted. B9's TP just comes a little bit too late. RCY, well, here's the downside, right? This is the Quas X sort. You have very little lockdown outside of a cold snap, really.
Yeah, you just aren't able to survive in the same fashion. And whereas sometimes Ice Wall can be the spell that you need, but other than that, yeah, it's just an effort to him maybe put a little bit more harass onto the Kunkka and then have just straight up more damage to right-click with. But it's not easy being this Invoker's Life, and the last time we talked about it also limits you quite heavily about what your itemization is. Just doesn't feel like you have that same build-up that you can simply go for with Quaswex, but shouldn't be too problematic. And again, we already talked about why he's going for it. There's just so much setup in this game outside of his lane.
Yeah, in the lane itself, he's going to maybe suffer a little bit, but once we start hitting that 9, 10-plus minute mark, things could heat up quite a bit. As speaking of potentially heating up, Mini and Surem are pushing their way forward. One more hit would get the curse down on a monster, but not going to be able to make it happen. B9, though, is getting hit up, but and Mini doesn't want to dive the tower to get a final hit in, and yeah, that's fair enough. But the Clinks is starting to get to the point, ET, where it's not 100% just passive farming. He's already been doing that very well, 41 and 18, but now he wants to try and bully these heroes up a bit, because he does hit really hard.
No, he absolutely can. He's got a Javelin as well. He's been farming phenomenally. And Monster, of course, with the Helm of Iron Will, he's not going to necessarily get pushed all the way back, especially with the Flag Bearer creep and his tower protection, but it's where he is just not able to really CS all too well here. Just hasn't really been set up. Of course, it has been at the cost of Heiko's game, but then you look over at Heiko and you're like, no, he's still Primal Beast. He's still rocking it. He's going to take a lot of damage to this spin, but aside from that, he's in a good spot. Hannes, though,
There's a Sunstrike.
might not be so.
RCY is able to snipe out the kill. And that works out pretty damn well, especially since Heiko had already used a lot of the trample damage earlier on. As B9, hello, welcome to the lane. Not a whole lot that he can do there, but Does push the Primal Beast back a little bit, but now they know that he's here. This rotation's kind of iffy, but still on the move. He's got the boots. Does he go all the way mid, or do they try to punish Heiko in the jungle here? They are going to be able to spot him. They had the ward, but Yarn got the slow, but not the frostbite. But Heiko coming back, he might still be in some danger. There's another Sunstrike.
Oh.
That's unfortunate. Might have been enough damage for the kill if the Cogs hadn't pulled him away. And now they're going to bail. Yarn will TP out. B9 should be sacrificed here. Yeah, that kind of sucks a little bit, because maybe that Sunstrike would have done the trick, but Cogs is just a little bit too much movement.
Yeah, I'm just the simple case of trying to help a little too much, because that was definitely a dead Heiko. That was, I think, 240. I think it's actually at the slightly higher 360 for the exort damage. So, yeah, probably would have been a dead Primal, but can't worry about those little plays too much here. And we'll have to see how they decide to get aggressive now on the map. B9 and Yarn don't have the most levels, though, so honestly, going and ganking Mini doesn't seem like the smartest of moves, just because, well, Mini's got the Death Pact already. He's got 1100 HP with a Fairy Fire. Surem would be much easier, but Surem is also Surem, so any Frostbite is just going to immediately get purged off. So supports will say hi, and then, well, he's going to start getting healed up. They didn't have Roar, though. And they walk.
Huh. Timing's off. Really all over the place there as Hane gonna get taken down at the top lane. Stonebank, does he win this against Heiko?
Oh.
Yes, he does. He pops the stick. Like 1 or 2 charges, I think, at the most there, but it's just enough for Stonebank to find the double.
No, just with the stick, with maybe even the Lance of Pursuit, you know, you could argue a little bit there, but had enough mana, had enough spells, and yeah, it works out greatly for Stonebank. Well,
oh, Yarn.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, hold up. Timing's off. Yarn avoids the hit from the boat. I think he's still dead, but that maybe buys time for B9 to get himself out of here, although he doesn't have a TP, so he's got to walk, and he's walking right into a creep wave and a tier 2 tower, so he might just say, yeah, I'm gonna die here. Unfortunate. And this is maybe a little bit more of the downside. What you were talking about. Those 2 supports are making rotations. You take a look at their levels. Yarn's 4, B9's 3, so it's not an overwhelming amount of firepower that they're bringing, even with some 2v1 scenarios potentially playing out. So, yeah, might want to pump the brakes a little bit, maybe grab a level or 2 before they start trying to get active again.
Yeah, that would be kind of smart. And of course, with Tomes alive, you know, it's Tome time. But really, the only one that they can hit up, though, is probably Hane's, which is kind of sad because Hane's has just been focusing on a lot of stacks and just being in the right place at the right time. So he hasn't been giving up his life or his positioning very easily, which is kind of why DogChamp feel like they're maybe airballing a little bit. But it's also where B9, he's level 4 now. He's got the Tome in queue. Once we have Hookshot, then might be time for him to actually get active here. And then you do have very easy setup for that Sunstrike. You even see Stonebank just saying, yeah, okay, captain, my captain, take the wave, get your level 6. Then I'm coming back for the lane, though. Yeah. Stonebank is he's a greedy man. He will not give that up for free. But during all this time, that triangle is so stacked from NoRunes. Can only imagine that they're saving it for Mini right now, though, because he's about to have his Maelstrom, and then Clinks will start to do Clinks things, where this hero get to really feel those Burning Barrage changes, because the hero is just nice to play now. He is actually so good at taking those stacks.
Yeah, just gives you a means of getting that flash farm in that just didn't exist before. That's why, you know, back before the kit change, Clinks had to farm heroes because he could do it more efficiently than actually going after creeps sometimes. But, well, with the Burning Barrage, that all changes. So, he should be rotating his way over. He's got the hammer coming out to him. Meanwhile, for Guts, working towards that early BKB. So, the Clinks is doing Clinks things. The Kunkka is going to do Kunkka things. He's going to tank up, he's going to get the magic immunity, and he is just going to look for someone to hit with the combo.
See, that's where I miss the Burning Army. I wish the Burning Army was still the Clinks ulti. I've won a good few games with that Clinks, but nope. Watching across the map, though, mid lane is also very dangerous for Stonebank. Depending on how he actually breaks, he could get silenced and then just killed by the Scarth Mage ulti, but there's pressure everywhere right now. Because it's split, though, attention-wise, Mini is just defending his tower still. And with the Burning Barrage and the Maelstrom, unless they start onto him, they actually cannot get this kill fast enough. So, tower defended, Odd Creep pushed off, and that's why Mini is putting himself at risk down here, hoping that the rest of the team can actually make a play happen. So much so that Gut says, enough is enough. I'm going to farm the Ancient Stack. You're taking too long.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. The Kunkka can take it with the Tidebringer quite nicely as well, and that might just be enough for him to finish off that BKB. So that is still very much a sort of strategic play for them to make, not just, I'm going to take it because you're not. They do get that sort of team fight item as top lane. Heiko trying to take the tower. Yarn and Stonebank, though, would very much like to have a word with him. They're going to push their way in here. Do they have anything to actually go for here? Because Stonebank, well, he doesn't really want to use the Omni Slash there. I'm not sure if it would have been enough damage anyway, so they simply back away, but... Oh. Sarem does eventually end up getting taken down. I think RCY snipes the kill with the Sunstrike, so... They're able to find the pick. They're able to find the tower. They're going to lose their tier 1 mid, but RCY denies it.
Yeah, no, very nice. And it is interesting from NoRunes because they decided to give the Kunkka the stack and to put the Kunkka in that farming situation. Well, the Clinks has to respect it and leave the bottom lane, which ends up leaving the tower undefended, as Mini also gets a tower kill, or a player kill there, able to take out Yaren. But because they take the Clinks out of bottom, and the Kunkka is too busy with his hands full on the stack, now the Kunkka can't TP bottom, so Mini can't defend the tower. So even though they probably end up a good bit richer, they do end up losing a lot of real estate. And again, they just TP in, they just kill Surem, who got taken down bottom just a few moments ago. And sure, B9's going to go down, but another kill for RCY is another kill for the Invoker. And RCY is very happy with this game so far. He's got a full Witchblade too. He's rich.
Yeah. He's just been farming in the jungle while his teammates just spoon-feed him Sunstrike kills. This is the sort of ideal game for the Invoker, and now actually he does put a point into Wex, so he does have the full arsenal at his disposal in case he needs it. Not the highest level, but the spells will at least be there. But well, over on the other side of the map, finally a little bit of pressure onto the Beastmaster. Monster had been largely left to his own devices, but Guts and Heiko say, no, let's go get him. We got a DD rune up on the Kunkka, the Pulverize is there, but more important kill on the other side is Stonebank. Well, he gets caught. That was the combo you were sort of alluding to earlier on when they weren't able to make the initiation. The silence is just massive. B9, okay, RCY is going to come in. There's the Meteor, and if they could punish Mini, that would be huge. They do get it. The Freezing Field is going to drop Hane as well, but Guts is still angling. Does he want it, though? There's no ghost ship. Yeah, he's going to back it off. But DogChamp, way to make the most of a bad situation there. It sucks that you lose Stonebank, but they turn that into some very nice plays for RCY again.
Yeah, no, just extremely solid stuff from him. And, man, he's just been such a standout player for DogChamp. What a great acquisition, honestly. Really changed the game for them. And now just feeling confident enough to bully Guts. There's absolutely no way he gets this kill here, but all he's looking for is the BKB. Like, that's where being annoying really pays in. Does he get greedy? Whoa, RCY!
He's a
god!
god!
My goodness!
Where's the Slacks line? Someone play it, please. That's sick.
No, that's a beaut. I mean, it's as simple as that. Deafening Blast does a whole bunch of damage. It's the part that does get buffed up by Exort, and yeah, doesn't pop the BKB, you greedy man. And then Heiko dies bottom, because that's where the rest of the lineup is. RCY is completely alone making these plays happen, but doesn't think for a second that Hannes is going to punish him there. I mean, brave or stupid, that's always the question here, but it works out.
It's a fine line, but well, so far it's been working out for DogChamp, and well, it is kind of interesting that they were able to get that kill onto Heiko as well, because normally the Yarn B9 initiation has been to set up the Sunstrike. This time, they had the Beastmaster with them, who I was going to say is kind of sick of playing a little passively here, but Monster, once that play ends, just goes back to farming, and he's about to finish off the Helm of the Overlord here, so once he gets that, the pushes are going to start to come again, and well, mid and top are not going to be feeling super safe on the NoRunes side.
No, and that's also the tipping point where if DogChamp need to, they can force Roche, as that has become a theme of this tournament. Whether or not one team is ready to press the envelope or the other one has to passively sit by and let it happen, And that's where NoRunes, of course, and Heiko being this primal beast, he is a fighter. And Stonebank, oh, that's a fast spin. Knowing that if he gets silenced there, that is just the beginning and the
He
end of
wants
his
back
life as
in, though.
B9, though. Look at this. Well, B9's going to eat it instead.
Well, that's a little bit awkward. Omni Slash, though, onto Hane. Bouncing to the creeps, though. He's not going to get the kill. Oh, okay. Black Dragon does. Even if the Black Dragon didn't, I think the Sunstrike was in position. So, Hane, I mean, you're dead 3 different ways. But, hey, trade out for B9. You're going to be okay with that. Now they're going to look to punish Yarn, who is just trying to grab a little bit of farm, trying to push out the tower, but I don't know if he's getting out of this one. Although with Sarem being the only one coming over, okay, Yarn's going to be just fine.
Yeah, they're extremely reliant on Xmark in this game. Guts just needs to be involved in pretty much every kill until Heiko can get a blank stagger. And of course, that's coming after the BKB, but until then, it's been a very quiet Primal Beast game, almost too quiet. Heiko has not really been able to find too many of those kills, and I think losing their safe lane tower so quickly has been an issue for him, because usually you do just TP and punish the enemy just pushing onto your buildings, but instead he hasn't really been able to play there. And I think a part of it is also just with Mini taking the triangle so early, just having another core playing on that top side of the map makes it a little bit more difficult to play. And Mini is fantastically farmed. He's almost got a full BKB on top of Dragonlance Maelstrom, but we'll have to see a lot from the lineup, because again, it is a hard stun lineup. You don't really have too much margin for error there. Otherwise, these heroes will survive. Unfortunately, though, B9 might just, okay, has the hookshot away, but loses both his wards in succession. So DogChamp are going to have a little kind of window here where they just don't have wards on the map.
Losing some vision for the moment. However, with or without vision, Monster's still going to be able to push. Not if he dies, though. There's going to be the onslaught. They're going to try and turn this around, however. The Roar is going to get dropped, but they did get the X. But because Guts was stunned, the timing is off, so they don't get the connection. They will still find the kill, however. But RCY, well, he wants in. He's going to drop the Ice Wall. It does connect onto Guts. Now they're going to get the Cog Trap. BKB forced out. Spin from Stonebank's really not hitting onto any heroes. Now they're going to get onto Sarem, but Sarem has his ult, so he's going to be fine. In the meantime, RCY takes the full barrage and can't get away from the trample. NoRunes, 2 big kills onto those cores. A lot of spells used on their own side, but it's going to be worth it. They do manage to make something happen. There we go. B9's just going to take the D rune so that the other side can't get it, but now he's looking for the kill. He wants to push on to Guts. RCY is not alive, though, to put in any sort of follow-up damage, so this is not what they wanted. The Omni Slash, yeah, that bounce is terrible. Wow. That straight sucks for Stonebank, and now they might have to pull back because they are in enemy territory, and they don't have the numbers advantage, and once they realize that, they've got to go.
Yeah, no, B9 just trying to press the issue just a little bit too hard there. And of course, the only reason that fight breaks out in the way it does is because NoRunes are abusing the fact that they have BKBs and your entire lineup doesn't have a BKB just yet, especially Monster just abusing the Beastmaster. And well, they keep this high ground vision. Monster, was this too early to farm this camp? Well, they guessed wrong. He just actually stays in the large camp. He doesn't move an inch when they do walk up that high ground because he just doesn't see him. But during all that time, didn't get Roche going. Mini's still incapable of taking that objective away from you, but at least for DogChamp, that doesn't lead into anything. It's not like their tier 2 immediately got pressured up after those picks ended up happening, but we'll have to see, because now that the mid game is really starting up here, those stakes do rise, and Mini now has Ag Shard and a Grove Bow. He's becoming that terrifying Clinks that we all fear.
Miss on the hook shot there, trying to hit Heiko. And they're just gonna be fine. They did at least get the D ward of this high ground vision, so DogChamp can slowly retake control of this north side jungle, but some economic damage was done, and as you said, Mini continues to build, so NoRunes are in a decent spot at the moment, but you really would like to maybe push a little bit more, just because if you're not pushing right now, there's still a Beastmaster on the other side. So Monster did get set back a little bit, ET, but you feel like eventually he's going to push a lane. You just can't stop Beastmaster from doing that at some point.
Ooh, and B9 on the run. He's on the lam, and he will actually escape, but that was a smoke destined for the Clink, or for the Juggernaut, but a big reason why they are going for those type of smokes when simply you'd be saying, why aren't they smoking and going towards Roche and this DD? Well, maybe that changes things a little bit here. But Gus just decides to take it. Roche gets cleaved and walks back out, but really the only thing they can do is slow down the opposing carry because, again, Mini on this hero just isn't ready to take the objective yet. It's where it's so much more important for DogChamp to find a pick on that top side of the map than it is for NoRunes, because simply they're not the team that can force the Roshan to happen. They still need to wait for a lot of these big items. And Heiko, well, he just got his Blink Dagger, so he could probably look for a nice nifty play pretty soon here, but Yarn is CM ulting top and might just get torrented into death here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's just greeding out for a BKB, and he did get pretty damn close to it with the time he had top, so... That death probably not going to set them back too much, and the Crystal Maiden closes in. He's got the Philosopher's Stone too, actually, so at this point, he might just be able to now sit back and wait and get that BKB up relatively quickly.
Yeah, but again, though, everybody's just farming. There's not pressure really anywhere. RCY is just trying to be annoying top. The holds are too good from both sides. And now, finally, they decide that, well, we're going to try and force the Roshan here. Again, it's not the fastest, and the Clockwork is just going to immediately scout it out. But this is where you look at buybacks, you look at who can afford to throw their life away. The Clockwork is not one of those heroes. I also see them getting dewarded right now. And actually, up on the high ground here, this ward barely survives in between the sentries. This is a crazy spot right now. So unfortunate, actually. But the Hawk does fly through. They see the Roche. They see everybody taking it. And DogChamp, you just walked back a little bit far because they were afraid of a smoke. But a smoke coming from themselves here. This is going to be a massive team fight.
And yeah, since they're smoked, the ward won't see them. Sunstrike comes in. B9 waiting for his moment. He's going to flare to check, and they're actually going to push into the pit themselves. Roche dropping low. Heiko, though, gets the pulverize on the backline, but nope, RCY was able to grab the Aegis, and now Heiko's going to get punished. He is stunned up by the roar, taken down. Maybe not yet, actually. He's trying to get away, and Stonebank can't catch up to him with the spin, so instead they turn their attention onto Guts. But RCY did lose that first life, but he's back in now. Yarn at the same time, channeling the freezing field. They're going to throw the meteor into the pit. Still have not actually killed anyone off yet. Guts is able to walk away. Yarn will fall. I don't know how they don't get any kills. Their focus is so split. But they lose 2 and the Aegis. At least they took the Aegis away from their opponents. I suppose that is going to count for something, but now RCY has to make sure he doesn't get caught. He tried for the Tornado EMP combo.
Yeah, and, well, okay. Objective gone. Don't need to worry about Roche now for a very, very long time because that Aegis was just now going to be a non-factor in this game. And I think RCY, great play, just blinking in, just pops the Alacrity on himself, making sure he has enough right-click damage to actually kill the Roche fast enough. But then, funnily enough, B9 decides to still hook into the pit, just maybe assuming that a hero could be on top of it and it's the only way to do it. But instead just hooks his Invoker. That spell's wasted. Heiko barely is able to walk out. And then you realize that we're fighting underneath 4 skeleton archers right now and the Clinks. Yeah. Oh, the greed.
Push back. He was farming on such low HP too. Yeah, the greed is going to really just kind of fall right back into his own face. His Guts gets taken down. Sarem should be dying here too. Borrowed time will run out. Bloody 9 gets the kill. So DogChamp, little bit of an awkward scenario in and around that Roche pit, but they keep the Aegis out of their opponent's hands. They bounce back with a team fight win. Or more of a gank than a team fight, I suppose. They take the tower, but they do have to sacrifice Yar in there. But that's Pulverize and Mystic Flare down, and you are still in a position to push the high ground here because no one is back. There are no defensively placed heroes. That's going to actually force the Glyph.
Yeah, no, they have to run away, and now that means that this tier 2 mid, the tier 2 top, even the tier 1 top is now going to be an objective that DogChamp could pull for if they really want to. We'll have to see, because right now they are still kind of playing slow. Just another game where everybody is getting just ridiculously farmed, but Stonebank with the Midas and almost a full Scotty now picked up. It's where that carry matchup starts to become more and more difficult for the Clinks. Of course, he is also looking at a Scotty because these carries are just tit for tat at this point, but that's where I think Stonebank just being able to straight up Omni Slash you could just be that difference maker. Another DD rune spawned up as well in the river, but looks like nobody's really going to scout it out too quickly. But still think this is a very big opportunity for DogChamp. They can just decide to push now for these objectives. And again, you can't really veer that far away. Not like NoRunes have. Everybody's walked away from bottom after already TPing away from here. Of course, the TPs are back off CD already, but they can't really afford another push like that to happen without Glyph. They need to change up how they play, I think, just a little bit more slightly.
Yeah, because Hane's trying to keep the wave pushed out, but if any hero actually comes to the lane to look for him, it's a Skywrath. He's not going to be able to really hold his own, so you're just kind of banking on the idea that DogChamp aren't focused on that lane at the moment, and for now, it's going to work, but if the bottom falls out on that risk, then you look a little bit foolish. As Sarem, he's going to get spotted here, or at least scanned, but he'll TP out before anyone can make it to him.
And, well, let's see. I mean, he's also set up down here, so looks like everybody is going to be back in the base from NoRunes, resituating themselves around this mid-tier 2. It's funny, because little do they know, Stonebank is not even here, and as soon as he shows them that top wave, NoRunes might just decide to go for a smoke, but it's also where, yet again, unless they're blink pulverizing, they don't have the best smoke. It's very easy to react to. A BKB, a spin, something is most likely going to get off and then force you to overextend, which is why NoRunes are kind of taking a step back and finishing off a lot of these big items. Guts is looking towards that AC, only about 1,000 gold away from that. And then a full Gleipnir could help Mini a whole lot in this game. Actually just have that secondary lockdown to make, again, his team's life that much easier. But until then, we're kind of just playing that waiting game. It's also very dangerous right now. NoRunes are walking through a lot of DogChamp vision. They actually were not able to de-ward to clear out many of this, just because Mini spent very little time down there. But again, everybody's just farming, which is a very tense position to be in. Especially because, again, that Roche going down so long ago just feels like this Aegis is just downtime at this point, where neither team wants to make a play necessarily, unless that Aegis is the threat. But see a smoke up. Needs to come from that Blink Dagger from Monster. Beastmaster can actually open up one of these team fights, but Hawk coming in. Gonna break on the Clinks, and nobody pops any vision. They got him, though.
They did hook onto him, but Heiko's gonna step in front, so they do have to focus him instead. But this isn't an easy kill. He'll just onslaught away. And Yar,
Oh.
yeah, no, Yar, that, no, that was never gonna work. That's a BKB charge used. That's his ult on cooldown. It's just the two supports, I suppose, so at least DogChamp maintain the core heroes, but such a slow reaction time there as well, right? Like, 3 heroes pop, they don't see anyone, and it takes a while for the brain to register. You know, boy, is there some sort of prominent hero on the other side who has invis who could be standing here right now? By the time they realize that they can't really make the play.
No, and, well, now they're on the aggressive. 2 supports are down. Stonebank's very far up, and oh, it was a short blink from Heiko. He couldn't get around the tree, so now they have to reset. RCY still greeting out for his BKB, but oh, this is such an awkward fight.
B9 hooked onto Mini, but even though he's trapped in the cogs, he can still start firing, but Heiko is dropping to the Omni Slash. Can Stonebank get the kill? Yes, he can. Well, B9 steals it with the flare, but the kill still goes their way. How much further do they want to take this, though? Because they used the hookshot to start the fight. They don't have it now to get in onto anybody, so they have to look for other targets, and RCY may have found one. That silence is not going to matter. The Mystic Flare does drop him low, though, so Mini, he's going to come in to finish the job. And, okay, yeah, you sacrifice one of your heroes, but you are able to find something. But look at Stonebank push forward. Not going to go all the way, though, but now the X on to B9. That'll pull him into the Ghost Ship, so they do find that kill. But Sarem, he does get spotted out inside the pit, so they'll finish him off. The Roar now deployed under the Clinks. They get him with the Root as well, but Stonebank, he can't do this. He doesn't have the damage. Oh, man, they just keep on underestimating this Clinks. And
Oh, and he just pops them.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. They don't have the armor right now for the Clinks or for the Jug to just push in like that. Not to mention, didn't have spin, and again, used the Omni Slash, you know, good 20 seconds ago on the Heiko that Heiko just had to eat, but yeah, just not enough damage. And now Mini, well, my man's got 4,000 HP. He is a stat king at this stage of the game, and now full Gleipnir, post-spin, post-BKB. DogChamp are running out of tools to fight.
Man, I mean, it was a nice attempt by Monster, and he does hit the target he wanted, right? You get in, you get a roar onto the Clinks, but you can't be so focused on getting that roar off that you don't realize that you don't have the damage to then kill the Clinks afterwards. So for DogChamp, they've got to be a little bit more coordinated than that pushing into this next engagement, because another loss like that suddenly puts NoRunes either into the pit or onto your base. It's not going to be the pit for a while, because that's 2.5 extra minutes on the timer.
Yeah, just results in them not having any follow-up damage, and I think that's where maybe we just need a Blink Dagger from Stonebank so he can follow up on the roar, but even then, they need to stay on top of Mini and then just never let him go, but that's the problem of the Abaddon. Surem is the one that is keeping Mini so healthy, so consistently in these fights, but now we've got a big problem. There's a Crystallis picked up on Mini. Mini's about to double his damage over on you, and you will just get shredded. Any Burning Barrage connection now is probably just going to be a dead hero. And unless you've got an AC, unless you've got some plate moves squared away somewhere, I don't think DogChamp can really stand up to that right now.
And you see Monster has the AC queued up, but he's, 3,500 gold away from really being able to finish that, so not coming anytime soon. Danger zone perhaps for DogChamp, part of the reason why you see NoRunes now smoking up. They want to push across the map. They want to take a fight on their opponent's side and really see if they can just get themselves into that opposing base. B9, he is going to step in front of this. Pops a lot of smokes. Does he get out, though? Well, he's going to try, but the onslaught, yeah, that's going to force him to cancel that TP, and he is going to die.
Gets taken out. Unfortunately, there's nothing that they can really do about that one. And, well, fortunately for DogChamp, it is still a minute and 4 seconds away from the Roche respawn. So his death will end up not really being a large factor in the game, but still have to see them maybe try to claw back some control, and maybe this comes from RCY's Hex. If they can start onto the Clinks or isolate him, just in a situation where perhaps they don't need to just pop Omni immediately to win the fight, then that could be big, but still need to see execution-wise something maybe a little bit more out of them. Even them just being able to chain together something with the Meteor. And RCY did just hit level 20, so that broken talent is picked up, so Invoker can actually just kill people. Just a matter of whether or not he can keep them locked down and whether Surem can be disconnected enough from the team fight. But I think right now, B9, he might want to start switching his target. Instead of going for the chorus, it might just be time to force Surem to actually save himself instead of his allies.
I mean, yeah, that might just do more good. If Surem doesn't have that save for Mini, then the rest of the lineup can make the play onto him, and maybe that changes the outcome here. But, well, RCY, this is kind of an interesting one, right? He's queuing up the refresher at this point, so just trying to double up. And honestly, that could be the thing that puts them over the top, right? If you can get double BKB, double Hex, maybe the double Meteor as well, because he does have the Shard. So you've got yourself, what, 6 Meteors all doing 80% extra damage? It's a hell of a lot of damage, but he's a long ways away from that refresher. While he builds towards it, though, Roche has respawned, and NoRunes making their way in.
Yeah, and, well, now, with the Daedalus, DogChamp were always in the position to be the forcing ones in Roche, but now he's level 24 and he has enough damage for this, and you're not reacting. Yeah, bottom.
He X'd himself. He X'd himself first. He's just away and free. Roche gets taken. They lose the tier 3. Okay, whatever. I think you're perfectly fine with that. That does refresh their glyph too, so that's just kind of plays him a little bit.
Yeah, escapes in what would be a very dire circumstance. Doesn't even have to pop the BKB. I mean, man just knew his limits, and yeah, with that, ages onto the Clinks. Again, full Daedalus going to be level 25 soon as well, so that Burning Barrage is going to take a huge leap in damage, or he can hit 2 heroes with Searing Arrow multi-shot, and then you get to feel the real benefit of this late-ish game Clinks, where every single point past 25, you just probably have one of the best level 30 heroes in the game. Everything is just so good.
And he hitting that rather sizable power spike. Meanwhile, there we go. I was looking to see who they gave the shard to. It is going to be the Primal Beast. So the Rock Throw, doesn't make an appearance on every Primal Beast build, but it's a free one this time. So little bit of extra, maybe damage and stun. Some area control, I think, as well. That's probably the really big aspect of it. If it hits, cool. It's a nice stun, but the split makes it so that you really just can't group up too heavily.
Well, and look at this. Smoke in, looking for the clockwork. B9 would just straight up die, but, well, this is almost as worth it as a kill. 250 gold for the creep. Wasn't able to actually take over anything else from the Helm of the Overlord, because Monster's all the way top, but you can feel it right now. DogChamp don't feel like there's an option or an answer to this Aegis. They just feel like they have to go for the split push instead. And NoRunes, they're not making the fastest attempt onto these buildings, but they are eventually just making their way and getting on top of them. And again, there isn't really much of a response. That's why they're going for so much split push instead, but we'll see, because eventually you do get caught. You can't do this forever. But tier 2 mid is going to get taken out. Heiko looking for Yaren and actually got him with one of it, but Heiko didn't channel long enough. Oh, little did he know he connected.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. If he knew, then he would have gone all the way in, but now they've got to split up a little bit. That tier 2 tower bot is taking a little too much damage for them to be comfortable with. As Heiko blinks. A little bit of a risky play, though, and yeah, they're going to try and turn. Oh, boy. Yeah, Heiko, I thought he was just there to stop the push. Instead, he gets a little greedy, and he's going to force Sarem and Hane to now come over here as well. Oh, okay. Double damage clinks makes short work of the clockwork there, so Mini is beyond godlike, but that alleviates a lot of pressure from really the DogChamp side of the map, as Yaren is almost certainly going to die here. Oh my god.
Yeah, the crit helped.
Oh.
The crit helped. Oh, and that's kind of unfortunate, because until that happened, that was a mission successful. And Monster, well, you're stuck too, brother. You just TP'd away. You're getting Scotty slowed so heavily. And where's the barrage?
Blink. Oh.
Whoa.
Just in time, and okay. Unbelievably greedy play for Monster, but it gets him his AC, so it was kind of worth it in the end as RCY. Okay, that's about as easy a kill as you're going to find there. As Hane just trying to split push. He does get caught, gets hexed up, and yeah, that's going to happen. You're okay with it, though, right? It's not like Hane's really dead for all that long.
Yeah, and, well, funnily enough, they're kind of getting on the aggressive here now. They want to get over to the side of the map. They don't know about the clinks just yet. It's just maybe some faint feelings of understanding where he's playing right now. But with this vision towards bottom as well, if they know that nobody's playing under this ward, nobody's on the Hawk, they kind of have to be top. But with that being said, minute on Aegis. We are almost past that danger zone point. I do wonder what Mini's going to slot out now. You're on that point at Clinks where you can really go for anything at this stage. And yeah, we'll just be the Satanic. Makes a whole lot of sense. Just become even more unkillable. Why not? With a Death Pact, he's going to be sitting at around 5,000 HP, I think. So even if you're getting Omni slash 100 to 0, I don't know if you're going to get 100 to 0. I feel like that's where the damage is really going to start to be lacking from DogChamp.
Oh, and this is a situation where it feels like you can't really afford to go after the rest of the lineup either, because you would have to keep Mini at arm's length. Maybe that is where the refresher does come into play, though, because RCY is still progressing towards it. If you can maybe double hex him, then you do have that choice, right? All in onto the Clinks, or hex him, disarm him, slow him, kill everyone else, and then decide if you want to then push with what you still have left onto that Clinks.
And double hex, double meteor, double deafening blast. That could be the secret sauce here, as well as RCY closing in on that level 25, where you probably get the radial deafening blast, just with how hard it kind of is to land the deafening blast onto the Clinks, but we'll see. I've seen both talents before. I feel like it is a kind of preference thing for Invoker players at this stage of the game, but also where bottom lane is actually DogChamp controlled. They have done a fantastic job of clearing out and actually getting some control vision-wise. And now there will be a big smoke here. Again, NoRunes, they want just to pick into that high ground push so they could be quick with it, but they're also going into the dark. They have no observer wards to place as well, so even if they do break, odds are they don't find it. And I think they ping out B9, and B9 pings out him. Mini gets a kill into Yaren, so looks like both supports will just die, but shooting past the waves, they have to ride this mid wave now in with the creep cut. both of the side lanes are in. Everybody is staying around to try and split push you.
Mm-hmm. Creeps are going to get up to the racks here in the bottom lane, and Monster quickly TP top as... Okay, Hane going to get himself a little bit caught there as RCY is just kind of poking around, seeing what he can find. Sapping away maybe a little bit of strength from the high ground push with the Skywrath Mage dead, and the split push just forces a response. Mini can clear it pretty quickly, but that means he's not on the front line to push the opposing high ground.
Yeah, and with that, they walk back. And importantly, they walk back to RCY's territory. Hane's already went down here. Anybody else that walks over here before the Abaddon can make a rotation is going to be under pressure and under risk. It's why Destroyer is hanging around and just poking and prodding, making sure that this lane is in. It just feeds you opportunities. And now the rest of the lineup's going to start filling in here. And unless NoRunes want to spend another smoke to try and invade that area, DogChamp still have somewhere to play, which is incredibly important. And maybe it goes back to them losing the Aegis from before, but feels like NoRunes are also kind of stalling out right now. They've got so much damage, they've got so much health that actually get through in a big team fight, but DogChamp's solution is to not give them a team fight.
Burning Army is back on the Clinks as he's able to pick up the Aghanim Scepter, but the split push comes in again, so they have to come down here to address it again. And they're just getting sort of led by the nose around the map. Heiko, though, this is a nice pickup. He's got the Lincolns to go along with his Lotus Orb, so he's just 100% about being that sort of defensive utility guy. And I mean, fair enough. He can still do damage if he gets into the middle with Pulverize and Trample, so you don't really need to build towards it. If he can keep Mini safe, then there really isn't much of a threat from DogChamp.
Come on, here we go. Two of the members of DogChamp are smoked, just getting some D-words here, looking to see if Serum had placed any vision. Aside from a sentry, they're not going to hit on anything. And NoRunes also decide to smoke, but this time they don't walk into DogChamp territory bottom. They look to go into what is effectively no man's land. And now we're going to have some smoke-on-smoke action. If they scout the CD rune out, they might actually have enough damage with Stonebank to kill the Clinks. This is a very rare opportunity, especially if they can find the Hex, but it's all about the follow-up. What does Monster find here? Oh, he just starts the fight on his own.
Yep. Okay.
Heiko's dead.
Heiko down, Srem is down, the roars onto Gus, they're going to try and take him out as well. Freezing Field being channeled, they have the Hex down as well. Kunkka needs some backup. Mini tries to get the Burning Barrage, it's a hell of a lot of damage, it might just be enough to turn things around, because now the Ghost Ship's going to come through, the Tidal Wave pulls them back, they're going to get taken out. And they hold on, ET. Guts is just massive there, his Satanic really keeping him alive on that front line, and then the combo's just more than DogChamp were prepared to deal with. And the good news for them, at least, is that they do have heroes alive that can still keep things pushed out, so I don't believe there's really going to be any sort of massive push up onto the high ground. Although, well, Guts and Mini, I mean, they're looking like they want to try for it. Okay.
No, they want to force the buyback. Just got to be really careful because there is that refresher, and you could just die on this Clinks if you're not careful here. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for double Hex, double Meteor, making sure that Mini doesn't escape. And, whoa, here we go. It's starting.
The play.
Watch the force dash.
That's the damage. Here's the hook shot. Mini's dead. Guts might die, too. He's stuck. The cogs actually keep him in the base. This is not good. Guts is going to get roared. He's going to go down. Oh, man.
And they save Stonebank's buyback. It's just Monster that has to commit. So that is a huge timing. And RCY, yet again, keeping his team kind of in the game here. And with the waves all the way out, well, when they go all the way over to the pit and scout it out, are you going to buy back on your Kunkka and your Clinks? No, you're going to let them have this third Roche. You're not going to give them that win condition, but that means that once Stonebank's alive, and of course, DogChamp have to make the decision to check this Roche, but once they do, I think this is a free Aegis. I think this is going to be a free refresher shard for the Invoker or the Beastmaster, and then suddenly, well, the game is flipped again.
Boy, oh boy. Every other NA team right now looking at this DogChamp lineup thinking, where did you find this guy? Or does he have a brother? Does he have a sibling at all? Like, RCY, what a breath of fresh air for DogChamp. Just so big, and, well, there's Roche getting taken down so damn quickly. No response from NoRunes. Can't afford to put one together. So, who takes what here? Stonebank is going to grab the Aegis. RCY will take the Refresher Shard. Of course, Yeah, this is where things get a little bit awkward. Maybe you do want to give that to your Beastmaster because they do now share a cooldown as of the most recent letter patch, so... I don't know. We'll see. He's holding on to it for now.
Yeah, just having it for the current moment, you know. And don't think he's the one that should necessarily keep up with it, but it's also where maybe Monster is just a little bit slotted right now. And I guess, you know, worst case scenario, I guess you just pop in and slot something in, but no, there really is no reason for the Invoker to have it, unless he feels like the reduction of mana cost is important, but I feel like he's got enough mana to make his cooldown, you know, whatever he wants to do, he's gonna do it.
Yeah. I mean, what? He slotted out the Witchblade, which... Okay, you're sacrificing a little bit of damage, but if Witchblade's the difference between kill or no kill at 47 minutes, then... I don't know. That's a very strange situation. As Stonebank, speaking of strange situations, he's just going to charge his way in here. Immediately has to spin his way out of it, but... Well, I guess job done. He acted as a distraction, but now, yeah, B9. He is going to get punished to get his teammate out of there. However, tower taken. Tier 2 falls, so NoRunes really just feeling that sort of ring getting closed around them. Noose around their neck gets a little bit tighter.
And, well, have to see. High ground, don't know if you're necessarily willing to go into all this, but
Can
okay,
they kill
again,
him fast enough?
is
Oh
dead.
my god! No, they do get him! I thought he was going to get pulled back, but it doesn't come out in time. He's dead. He has a buyback, and they would love to force it. They're going to push their way in. Sarem has his ult triggered. He's going to stay alive. God, oh god, man. ET, they don't want to use that buyback, but he's dead for such a long time.
No, he is dead forever, and of course, you did use the Omni Slash, so maybe you're not going to want to press the issue just yet here, but supports certainly are still under quite a lot of threat, as well as that healing ward will get taken down, but eventually we'll have it back up, and then maybe they keep on poking the high ground, and they do give the Refresher Shard over to the Juggernaut, so Stonebank does have an extra Omni if he really needs to. But Mini leaves the game.
Okay.
Getting a little laggy.
That's
I think
unfortunate.
might be the issue. Because right now there's just so many things on the screen at the same time. Don't even have the Ags on the Primal Beast yet, but you know, this game could get even more difficult to run.
Yeah. Quick PC check. You know, how's your benchmarking doing? But I do want to point out another thing, right? You know, more lessons in reading the patch notes, because 4 seconds on the Refresher Shard cooldown, but since it's in the backpack, that's going to stay at 4. So at some point, Stonebank does need to slot that in, get it actually ready to go, and then he can switch it back up again, because hopefully he realizes that it doesn't actually tick, because if you try to swap it in and then you have the swap cooldown and 4 seconds when you were expecting to have it ready, that could get a little bit dicey.
Yeah, and well, let's see. Again, spin, just free damage. They do finally get that tier 3 tower, but they're still holding on to the buyback, and this is kind of the issue with DogChamp right now. Into level 25 Burning Barrage, Skeleton Army, everything, and that Kunkka, you cannot really push the high ground. You have to find a jump, and you have to actually, I think, maybe switch targets from the Kunkka. They got Kunkka before because it was free, because they placed a ward, they saw that he was alone, and then they jumped him. But I think unless you start onto the Clinks, it is going to feel very difficult to actually break open this high ground. In the meantime, though, you do just get to farm. You get to build up. You also get to, again, try and find mistakes of your opponents trying to leave their base, and then perhaps the Invoker can find a combo play with his own Hex. But also where he just got an overwhelming blink too, so yeah, those luxury items, everybody has so much net worth in this game. Even the supports to a certain degree. Maybe Skyrath Mage is the one that's kind of feeling the poorest right now because he doesn't have too many crazy items, but everybody else is feeling right at home.
Starting to just pick up something for everyone. Meanwhile, at this point, ET, I think I'm going to keep periodically bringing it up until it's resolved one way or another, but he still hasn't swapped in the shards, so it still has the extra cooldown. And I don't want to see a fight change because he tries to swap it in and it says, nope, sorry, dude, still on cooldown, but, well, for now at least they should be feeling okay, because NoRunes aren't going to push out of the base until the Aegis is timed out, and it's only 35 seconds away from doing so. So NoRunes' wait has worked.
Now that Aegis has just kind of flown by, and well, they're still stuck on their high ground, but a high ground that they are very willing to leave. I do believe though they only have one smoke, and that is on the Skywrath Mage, and then they will be stuck in their base for a very long time. And it looks like after these cards top in the mid wave, they will probably look for a play, but that's where they have a very tight opening, and they have to immediately get on top of one of the high grounds, just so that way you can actually abuse daytime vision. Otherwise, they're just gonna kind of anchor down here. They are kind of stuck, but they're pinging. Feels like they're gonna do it, and there we go. Scouts, no. I see that's one of those funny things where if you have the Invoker Relic for Sunstrike damage and you see it gets a buff up, then you're like, wait a second.
Oh god. That would be something if that's the way that it gets found out, but not really sure. But NoRunes, well, I mean, they smoke up, they do push out, but they don't push very far. They're just going to retake control of the high ground, and for now that's going to have to be enough. But on the other side, here comes the smoke from DogChamp. Juggernaut did swap the shard in, so I can stop panicking internally and I guess externally because I haven't shut up about it, but he does have it, and now they're going to jump in. Guts is going to be the first one hit. They drop the roar onto him, keeping him locked in place. Yaren's going to channel the freezing field. Doesn't really get all that much damage, but it gets the job done. Heiko was taken down. Meanwhile, Skywrath Mage caught over to the side, so Hane is going to get punished here. And Yaren is quickly going to pop his buyback. Meanwhile, Sarem is stuck on the high ground. They now know that with the Sunstrike, so they should be able to finish him off or at least force his ult. Mini, does he want this? He's thinking about it. The Lotus is applied to him. The Lincoln's is on him too. So all of their hopes now go with the Clinks. Although, well, you know, Guts is actually pretty threatening here too. But there's going to be the hook. They're going to trap him inside the cogs. Mini knows we're going to make his way over. There's the Gleipnir. Going to root up too. A monster has tried to join the fight. Does he get the rock? He doesn't. Well, actually, no, he did. It's reflected back onto him. And now the Pulverize going through the Magic Immunity means Stonebank's hit. But look at RCY coming in. The double meteor. They take down Mini. And RCY is going to save the day, because without that ET, that was looking like a lost fight.
No, and it's so close, and with the Lotus Orb reflected, it looks like the fight's going to be blown open for DogChamp, but Stonebank and Monster, they make enough time with their bodies, and now the Hex!
Back in, Mini. He just popped back. He can't die, but he's going to get rooted up. Stonebank spinning on him. Mini's dead. Oh no. And now what is this, Guts? You don't want to be here. He's going to try and go for a tidal wave play into the Ghost Ship, but that actually means the Ghost Ship doesn't hit. And now Kunkka, no mana whatsoever. Here comes the Meteor. There's the Deafening Blast, dropping him low. And if Guts falls here, I think the defense is just over, because he is not getting back into the game. He's going to try to stay alive, but he can't do it. Guts will fall. There it is. GG called, and BT. I don't, whatever DogChamp are paying Stonebank, or excuse me, RCY, double it. Double it right now. Whatever his salary is. Just throw more money at him.
No, he's just that carry player that this team has been looking for such a long time. A carry player that is also somehow just as good as team fighting, but even more selfish than whenever he had Ryoya on the team. I mean, he is just fit into this lineup so nicely. And DogChamp have a stand-in. They haven't played with Monster the entire tournament, and it just works in this series where they narrowly avoid elimination here in the lower bracket and continue to play. But yeah, RCY, my man, he is just a baller. And of course, NoRunes kind of did it to themselves in that last team fight. They're the ones that leave the high ground. They're the ones that come down and look to fight you without placing any wards and without any more smokes of deceit, because they're tapped for everything being trapped in their base. But then Stonebank kills a hero. RCY gets to wait out every single BKB. He gets the combo. He doesn't skip a beat. And then NoRunes get sick of their own game, and they throw their buybacks pretty much away there. That was not the way that that game probably should have ended. But hey, it just works for them. And RCY, yeah, looks fantastic in both games. Either his Tinker, either his Invoker. I don't want to say those are what feeling like his only two heroes, but God, this guy deserves the respect. He needs the bans. And I think in the next team that goes up against this team, watch out for him.
Yeah, there's got to be a scouting report here on RCY, because Yeah, the Invoker's strong, the Tinker's strong. When you let the Bat Rider through, he's shown his stuff on that hero as well. So already establishing a sort of big three for himself. And I'm sure those aren't the only heroes he can play well. It's just when teams keep letting him have those heroes, why bother? You know, why play an Ember? Why play a Pango? If they're gonna let you have Invoker Tinker all day, then you're gonna rock it.
Yeah, no, it just works. And now I wonder if there is going to be a huge draft change up. But I mean, DogChamp, last BTS Pro Series, this was the same route. I'm not,
Mm,
going to put all my eggs in one basket here. And there are some very scary teams that will get knocked down after tomorrow's upper bracket games.
true.
But again, we'll have to see if DogChamp can kind of keep their head in and just one day at a time, because they looked like they had an answer to everything here. And in a game where it was very difficult and NoRunes, I mean, win probability had them, the game had them. They looked great up until I think some of those few late game decisions. I don't know. Will they be able to keep themselves together, or will they just fall apart? Who knows? But right now, looking great.
Mm. DogChamp get the win, so they move on to the next round. They will have to wait for their opponent. However, as BT mentioned, we do have those upper bracket games tomorrow that'll determine who drops down and who goes on to the upper bracket finals. So that is it for us today. A couple of best of threes that only go to two each. So congratulations to Wolf Team and DogChamp. We shall see them 2 days from now in that second round. But some pretty impressive stuff, ET. I mean, this first round in the lower bracket is always a little bit iffy, obviously, right? Because we have the teams that were at the bottom sections of the group stage. But, well, outside of Wolf Team just kind of stomping their way across Feld, this series at least really did give us a hell of a lot to be excited about.
No, yeah, for sure. And I do wonder, is it just going to be some team picking up an offlaner first phase and then banning out all of RCY's heroes? Or is it going to be a mid laner that ends up rushing the hero pick? Or do DogChamp decide for, the first time in a good few games here to first phase his heroes? Because, I mean, when he gets what he wants, it's just fantastic. It's so satisfying to see someone who can actually put numbers on these heroes. Because any players, they get stuck in the farm game, they get stuck in the numbers game, but I don't know. It's where someone built different like that really puts on a show for us.
RCY, a man of action, not afraid to just leap in there and throw what he's got out there and see what happens. And as we saw with that Invoker, you throw everything out there and you make stuff work. So it will be DogChamp and Wolf Team moving on, as we said. Tomorrow afternoon, we are going to have Ravens versus 5-Rat Force Staff, along with SG Esports versus The Cut. So while you don't have the extra excitement of elimination for those best of threes, those are going to be some solid matchups that you do not want to miss. So same start time, I believe, 1 p.m. Pacific time once again. Hope to see you there. For now, though, we are going to be hopping on out of here. So, well, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Dota. Hope you join us tomorrow as well, and enjoy the rest of your night. We will see you later.